throughout the year. So let's learn about these finalists. They learn about the campaigns that they've put on. Okay. I'll start again. Kitni der? Okay. Assalamu alaikum, good evening, and a very warm welcome to all of you in Lockdown Live. I am Afshin Razavi, and I'm your host for the evening. In these uncertain times, when everyone is looking to keep themselves sane, adjusting and making the most of this new norm of staying home, Effie Pakistan felt at this point in time the need to connect with the entrance of 2020. We have carved out these sessions specially for the finalists, not just to make themselves feel good about themselves, that yes, we've made it to the final step, but also to inspire all those brand teams out there and the marketing teams who keeps on churning out their marketing campaigns throughout the year. So let's learn about these finalists, their campaigns, the insights which were pinned down and which led them to finally make it to the finalist category. So before we move on to the session, or we start on to the session, a little update on the Effie Pakistan Gala Night. Globally, as you are all aware, that we have the scheduled event was in April, and we had actually postponed it. Now, globally, the Effie worldwide and all the affiliated programs which are running throughout the internationally running programs, they have postponed the gala night for at least 2 to 3 months straight away. And every region and every country is monitoring their situation. And of course, after that, they're going to devise their next steps. We, as Effie Pakistan, are also monitoring the situation at this point in time. We will see how the situation goes till post-Eid, and then we'll draw out our strategy for the gala night. Till then, you will have to keep watching these lockdown series and meet the real heroes who are working day and night to make the campaigns. Lockdown Live, as the name suggests, is a series of live shows with the finalists of Effie Awards 2020. Our main aim is to learn how they made it to the final, the way they write their forms, they make their insights, their campaigns which stood out from the rest and which made them special. All this and very much more we are going to learn from the brand custodians themselves. The format of the show is very simple. We've kept it very unstructured. Each brand will have 5 minutes to speak about their campaign. And I'm sure they're going to inspire a lot of people out there. We can have cross questions. They are all competitors in the series. Before I move on to the actual introduction of the brand representatives, let me tell you that today is the first episode of Lockdown Live, and we are going to discuss snacks and desserts category. The brands which have made to the category are Candyland Toss, Jumbo Junior, and Tiger Biscuit. To represent Candyland Toss, we have with us Zaid Habib. He's the group brand manager from the Smile Industries. Hi Zaid, welcome to the show.
Hi Afshin, pleasure to be here.
To represent Jumbo Junior, we have Talha Imran. He's the brand manager from Innovative Biscuits. Assalamu alaikum, Talha. Welcome to the show.
Assalamu alaikum.
And we have the very own Ali Reyes, who's been on our jury panel for a year. He has been on the jury panel of not only from Pakistan, but also on the panel of almost all the international award programs. He's also the Regional Executive Creative Director, Impact BBTO. Hi, Ali. Are you there with us?
Yes, I am. How are you? Assalamu alaikum.
Good.
Salam Ali, how are you?
All well. How's everybody doing?
Doing
I
good.
think
Doing very well, Ali. Thank you.
मेरे साथ तो I think today is in this lockdown of approximately 2 months. Today was the first day when I actually took out some proper clothes from my wardrobe and मैं तैयार हुई because usually हम लोग या तो वो पजामा और शर्ट में होते हैं, दफ्तर का काम भी ऐसे ही चल रहा होता है. But today was the first day which I actually took out some proper clothes from my wardrobe. मुझे बताएं, how is COVID treating you guys? How are you both coping up with it on a personal level? Zaid, you can start.
Ella, you want to go first? Okay. So COVID's been it's been very different. Obviously, we haven't had a pandemic in 100 years, so nobody knows how to deal with it. But I think from a personal perspective, I've spent a lot more time at home. There's maybe a few new rooms in the house that I've explored. From a work point of view, it's not been that bad. I think I felt that working from home, I've been much more focused, and I've been more productive about the same things. And I think from a technology point of view, because we have like all these new tools to support us. So it's actually been a pleasant change working from home and exploring this part of life.
Tala, how are you?
It was very recent. I watched this film called I Am Legend. और कुछ अर्से बाद ही ये लॉकडाउन एंड सारा पैंडेमिक शुरू हो चुका था. So it was very relatable. और शुरू में तो everyone was very panicked. So all that I Am Legend वाला जो सीन था, वो unfold हो रहा है और आपके सामने entire lockdown चल रहा है. So it was kind of scary at first. So you're not really scared for yourself, but obviously you have your family and you have friends, so you don't want to infect other people that you care about. So वो एक first few weeks जो थे वो were quite scary. But we're working from our office for the past month. और हमारे बहुत सेफ्टी प्रोटोकॉल्स हैं, बहुत सेफ डिस्टेंसेस हैं, फ्लेक्सिबल वर्किंग हैं. सो हम इट्स बिन अ मंथ नाउ एंड आई थिंक हमारा ऑफिस से काम बहुत अच्छा जा रहा है.
Okay,
We
cool. So you're working
sanitize
from
and
your office.
we just took off for 2 weeks. And 2 weeks के बाद we joined back our office और हमारे बड़े अच्छे सेफ्टी प्रोटोकॉल्स थे, sanitize walk through gates, social distances and everything. So जैसे जाहिद ने मेंशन किया है कि बहुत ज़्यादा हेल्प किया है टूल्स ने. सो हमारी जितनी मीटिंग्स हैं वो बहुत रिमोट हो गई हैं. फ्रॉम आवर ऑफिस की होती हैं, बट एजेंसीज के साथ मीटिंग्स हैं वो थ्रू स्काइप कॉल्स एंड स्टफ होती हैं. सो इट्स ओके.
I think work's become faster also.
यस एग्जैक्टली. आपको तैयार नहीं होना पड़ता इतना.
I know. How did COVID treated your brand specifically? Talha, we'll start off with you. आप biscuit category में, ठीक है? When all this happened, how did it treated you? What was your reaction to it? आप लोगों ने कैसे किया? Rebound reaction क्या था? Marketing strategy क्या रही आप लोगों की? Briefly, छोटा सा बस आप मुझे ये बताएं.
So immediately we were very sure कि because biscuit dry product है और इस तरह की जो crisis situations होती हैं, emergency situations होती हैं, biscuits का बहुत important role हमेशा से रहा है. So हम लोग over prepare हमें बहुत early on होना पड़ा था because rations वगैरह बढ़ रहे होते हैं और लोग चीज़ें food stock कर रहे होते हैं जिसके अंदर biscuits जो हैं being a dry product जिसकी shelf life भी ज़्यादा है, stable product है, उसकी जो stocking है वो it's quite high. So हमने अपनी gear up करके रखी हुई थी प्रोडक्शन, तो हमारी was already in order. कुछ हमारा इस टाइम पे जो है सीज़न ऑफ हो रहा था, स्कूल्स ऑफ हो रहे होते हैं, उसकी वजह से हमारी जो एक वॉल्यूम है वो बिल्कुल रिड्यूस हुआ होता है. बट विद दिस पैंडेमिक हमें अर्ली ऑन ही जो है एक स्टेप अप करना पड़ा अपनी सेल्स को, अपनी सेल्स फोर्स को. थोड़ा सा इनिशियली हमें इश्यूज आ रहे थे बिकॉज वी weren't श्योर कि किस तरह वर्क फ्रॉम होम किस तरह होगा. एंड ऑब्वियसली यू गाइस नो कि सेल्स स्टाफ जो है उनका काम ही फील्ड का है. सो बहुत जल्दी हमने अडाप्ट किया, उनको वर्क फ्रॉम होम किस तरह करवाना है, उनके ऑर्डर्स किस तरह लेने हैं. एंड वेरी अर्ली ऑन वी स्टार्टेड रिसीविंग एक्सेप्शनल ऑर्डर्स जो कि इस सिचुएशन से रिलेटेड थे. बहुत जिस तरह हम आपके NGOs हैं, दे वर बाइंग लॉट ऑफ बिस्किट्स फ्रॉम अस. हम लोगों ने बहुत एक्टिवली इसमें पार्टिसिपेट किया, गिविंग आउट आवर प्रोडक्ट, giving out to the society इस situation में, as I mentioned before, कि biscuit
So were you advertising Talha at this point in time, or did you like move to dark age कि नहीं अभी फिलहाल advertising करना है, retail पे product डाल देनी है और
okay. for this specific brand we were not advertising at the moment, but हमारे दूसरे brands चल रहे थे जिनके ऊपर हम advertise कर रहे थे, and yes वो बिल्कुल effect हुआ, हमारी campaigns बिल्कुल reduce होगी, because एक तो morally भी अच्छा नहीं लगता कि because हमारी कुछ campaigns हैं जो certainly loud होती हैं, उस time के around आप as a corporate identity you don't give out those messages जो आप normal situation के अंदर दे रहे होते हैं. So yes वो बिल्कुल हमारे reduce हुए.
So my question is for Ali. Next question. It stemmed out from this question only. Ali, what do you think? Should brands advertise in this point in time? क्या उनको advertise करना चाहिए या उनको बिल्कुल move away? They should just move away right at this point in time. Because एक theory ये भी है कि at least अगर आप नजर आएंगे इस time पे तो आप recover जल्दी कर लेंगे. What do you think from an agency perspective? Ali, are you there with us?
We lost him.
I think Ali, you're at mute.
Yeah, I don't hear him either.
Ali, are you there with us? Okay, so I'll come back to my question again. I think what we do is कि हम ये सवाल दोबारा पूछ लेंगे अली से, and we'll start the session right away. Each of you have got 5 minutes. आप अपनी उस campaign के बारे में बात करेंगे, which made it to the finalists. We'll start off with. हाँ, Ali, are you there with us?
Sorry, I just got disconnected. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, I am. I just got disconnected for some reason.
Did you hear my question? या फिर do I have to go about it again? चलो मैं दोबारा repeat करती हूँ आपको.
I didn't hear your question. I could see you speaking, but I couldn't hear you.
Okay, so my question was कि what do you think from an agency perspective? Should the brands they advertise at this point in time जब ये COVID का सारा situation हुआ? So, was it a good strategy to advertise at that point in time? या वो brands जो बिल्कुल dark में चली गई, they did opt for advertising. वो ज़्यादा better route था. What do you think is a better option? Ali? वो अगर अभी हम लोग न्यूज में होते तो तब फनी खराब सूरत हाल की वजह से हम कनेक्ट नहीं हो पा रहे. Ali, we can't hear you.
Yeah.
कैसे situation? Okay, let's move on to the session. I think we'll ask this question when he gets online. So Tala, we'll start off with you. Why don't you take us through the campaign which made it to the final? It's Jumbo Junior, right?
Yes, so the brand that we're talking about here is Jumbo Junior, which is an energy biscuit by Innovative Biscuits. Innovative Biscuits जो corporate identity itself first, सबसे पहले तो वहाँ से हम start करेंगे कि हमारी जो corporate philosophy is always about giving back to the society. It's always about being open to ideas. It's always about being open to creativity. यहाँ से हमने इस आइडिया को पिकअप किया और कुछ यूएनए हमने कंडक्ट किया और हमारी रिसर्च की इंसाइट थी कि जो और हमारी टारगेटेड ऑडियंस है बच्चों की, उसके अंदर बहुत बड़ा गैप है. वो गैप ये है कि उनको कुछ गाइडेंस अवेलेबल नहीं है, उनको अवेयरनेस अवेलेबल नहीं है कि फ्यूचर की उनकी प्रॉब्लम्स क्या आ रही हैं, प्रॉब्लम्स को किस तरह टैकल करेंगे, वो प्रॉब्लम्स एक्चुअली हैं क्या. सो हमने टारगेट किया जनरेशन जी को, जनरेशन अल्फा को, बिकॉज ये हमारे यंग बच्चे हैं, यंग माइंड्स हैं पाकिस्तान के, और ये हमारी फ्यूचर है पाकिस्तान के. एंड दे वेरी फन पीपल टू वर्क विद. हमारी इनसाइट से बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग बातें इनकी निकली कि ये बहुत अर्ली ऑन एज में चीज़ों को अडेप्ट कर लेते हैं, अंडरस्टैंड कर लेते हैं. पर एज अ ब्रांड हमने फिगर आउट किया कि हमारी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है कि हमने अपने पाकिस्तान की यूथ को हमने उनको एक्सप्लेन करना है कि उनकी फ्यूचर की प्रॉब्लम्स क्या हैं, जिसके अंदर आपकी इन्वायरमेंटल इश्यूज़ हैं, सोशल इश्यूज़ हैं, उनको हाईलाइट करना है. नॉट ओनली दैट, इंस्पायर देम कि वो उनको रिजॉल्व कर सकें. सो दिस वाज द बेसिक फिलॉसफी बिहाइंड दिस एंटायर कैंपेन. सो जो हमारी कैंपेन थी, हमने टारगेट किया जनरेशन जी को. इसके अंदर हमने 5 से 10 साल के बच्चों को टारगेट किया, विच वर स्कूल गोइंग किड्स. एंड इस ऑडियंस को अगेन टारगेट करने की दूसरी वजह ये थी कि इनके अंदर एक बहुत क्यूरोसिटी होती है. दे हैव वेरी क्यूरियस माइंड. they're always thinking about stuff, they're thinking about ideas, they're thinking about issues and उनको किस तरह हमने tackle करना है. So बहुत relevant issue उस time पे जो हमारी insight में था वो ये था कि environmental issues जो पाकिस्तान face कर रहा है, especially related to deforestation. मैं बात कर रहा हूँ 2018 की, जब हमारी government भी बहुत actively deforestation के ऊपर काम कर रही थी और plantation campaigns चल रही थी. That's what we picked up on. एंड बच्चों से कम्युनिकेट करना ऑब्वियसली थोड़ा सा टेक्निकल हो जाता है, बिकॉज उनको समझाना इस बात को कि प्लांट्स कट रहे हैं, ट्रीज कट रहे हैं, ओजोन लेयर डिप्लीट हो रही है, ग्लोबल टेम्परेचर राइज हो रहे हैं, बच्चे वुड नॉट अंडरस्टैंड इट. सो व्हाट वी केम अप विद वाज अ स्टोरी जिसमें हमने एनिमल्स जो हैं, बिकॉज बच्चे जो है रिलेट कर रहे हैं एनिमल्स को एज देयर फ्रेंड्स, सो वी केम अप विद द स्टोरी दैट देयर एनिमल फ्रेंड्स आर बीइंग अफेक्टेड, उनके घर तबाह हो रहे हैं, and as a friend we need to save their home. So ये बेसिक आइडिया था स्टोरी कैंपेन के पीछे, और हमने इसको एग्जीक्यूट इस तरह किया कि हमने सीरीज टीवीसी बनाई जिसमें हम टाइम एंड टाइम सोशल एंड एनवायरमेंटल इश्यूज को हम रेस करते थे. एंड ऑब्वियसली सिंस वी टॉकिंग टू किड्स, what better way than to go with an animation. So we created this character called Jumbo Junior because it's a बच्चों का प्रोडक्ट. इनसाइड रिवील्स के बच्चे जो हैं अपने से ऊपर के बड़े एक ब्रदर फिगर को जो है बहुत फॉलो करते हैं, उनकी बातों को सुनते हैं, समझते हैं. सो वी क्रिएटेड दिस जंबो राइनो, दिस इज अ वेरी क्यूट लाइक बेबी राइनो, जो कि जुगनू एंड जागमग दो और कैरेक्टर्स हैं, उनको इंस्पायर करता है. हमारी रिसर्च में ये पता चला था कि जो मार्केट के अंदर हर जगह जो बात हो रही थी, हमारे कॉम्पिटिशन बात कर रहा था, दे वर टॉकिंग अबाउट एनर्जी, दे वर टॉकिंग अबाउट द प्रोडक्ट का जो कोर बेनिफिट है उसके बारे में बात करते हैं. सो हमें पता था कि हमने एक डिफरेंट राउट लेना है, एंड दैट्स वेयर वी पिक्ड अप ऑन अनलॉकिंग द आइडियाज. सो हमारे की 3 इंग्रेडिएंट्स हैं, मिल्क है, ग्लूकोज है, कैल्शियम है, बिस्किट का. सो वन लाइनर में अगर आप इसको समझें, सो you open a pack of Jumbo Junior biscuit to unlock your ideas to make the world a better place. सो स्टोरी कुछ इस तरह अनवील होती है कि दो बच्चे हैं जुगनू एंड जगमग, जो कि ओपन करते हैं पैक ऑफ जंबो जूनियर बिस्किट्स व्हिच रिवील्स द जंबो जूनियर कैरेक्टर, एंड वो उनको आइडेंटिफाई कराता है कि पाकिस्तान के क्राइसिस इश्यूज क्या हैं, एंड देन दे गो ऑन अ मिशन, इंस्पायर करते हैं, एंड ऑब्वियसली उसके बाद एक उसका एंड रिजल्ट जो कि एनिमल जो उनके फ्रेंड्स हैं उनके घर वापस रिस्टोर होते हैं और वो खुश होते हैं. सो हमने ये 2 लेग्स में कैंपेन एग्जीक्यूट की. पहले हमने टीवीसी शूट किया जो कि अक्रॉस ऑल मेजर हमने चैनल्स इसको हमने रन किया. ऑल्सो यूट्यूब इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट मीडियम. हमने यूट्यूब पे इस कैंपेन को रन किया बिकॉज हमारी रिसर्च से ये पता चलता है कि बच्चे आर वेरी एक्टिव ऑन यूट्यूब, मेरे पेरेंट्स आर वेरी एक्टिव ऑन फेसबुक, और उनके थ्रू रीड आउट करते हैं बच्चों को. सो हमने सोशल मीडिया के 2 प्लेटफॉर्म्स भी छोड़े. इसकी सेकंड लेग वाज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. हमने इस पूरे कैंपेन को बीटीएल में लेके गए, एंड ऑब्वियसली बच्चों को हमने इस चीज़ को दोबारा रिमाइंड कराना था, इंस्टॉल कराना था इस आइडिया को. सो वी केम अप विद दिस एंटायर प्ले जो कि हमने एक मोबाइल प्लेटफॉर्म पे बनाया. मोबाइल प्लेटफॉर्म एज एन फोल्डेबल कोलैप्सिबल एक स्टेज बनाया जिसमें जंबो जूनियर कैरेक्टर एनिमल कैरेक्टर्स थे लाइफ साइज, एंड हम स्कूलों में जा के एक पूरा प्ले करते थे जो कि बच्चों को जो है इन्वॉल्व करता था, स्कूल के बच्चों को. फॉर एग्जांपल असेंबली लाइन में हम लोग जा रहे हैं और पूरा स्कूल बैठा हुआ है, और उनको इन्वॉल्व करके हम लोग उनको एक्सप्लेन करते थे कि एनिमल फ्रेंड्स आर सैड बिकॉज उनके ट्रीज कटे हुए हैं. सो ऑडियंस में से ही बच्चे आते थे, कुछ सीड्स प्लांट करते थे, और उनके सामने ही बैकड्रॉप चेंज होता था और रिवील करता था कि जो फॉरेस्ट है रीग्रो हो गया, जिससे उनके एनिमल फ्रेंड्स जो हैं वापस खुश हो गए हैं. वो बहुत ही हमारी सक्सेसफुल गई. हमने इनिशियली टारगेट किया था कि हम पाकिस्तान में 1000 स्कूलों में जाएंगे, एंड दिस कैंपेन स्पेशली BTL वो सो सक्सेसफुल कि हमें 1000 की जगह 1200 स्कूलों में जाना पड़ा, और हमने ओवर 0.3 मिलियन बच्चों को रीच किया. एंड बहुत सरप्राइजिंग हमारे लिए होता था कि हमें टीचर्स और प्रिंसिपल स्कूल से फ़ोन करते थे कि हमें पता चला है कि आप फलानी चीज़ एक्टिविटी करें तो हमें उसके बारे में पहले बता दीजिए. सो सर्टन स्कूल्स आर यूज्ड टू प्रिपेयर द किड्स, उनको असाइनमेंट्स देते थे, उनको लेक्चर्स देते थे फॉरेस्टेशन पे हमारे आने से पहले, और बहुत से स्कूल्स ऐसे थे जो बच्चों को असाइनमेंट्स वगैरह कराते थे हमारे जाने के बाद. वी मेट अ लॉट ऑफ पेरेंट्स जिन्होंने हमें कहा कि जी आप हमारे फलाने बच्चे के स्कूल में आए थे, हमारा एक और बच्चा उसका ये वाला स्कूल है, आपने वहाँ पे भी ज़रूर जाना है. वो बहुत सक्सेसफुल गई. टीचर्स ने, प्रिंसिपल्स ने हमें बहुत अप्रिशिएट किया. वी गॉट लॉट ऑफ सर्टिफिकेट्स फ्रॉम डिफरेंट स्कूल्स जिन्होंने बहुत अप्रिशिएट किया इस कैंपेन को कि ये एक्चुअली मार्केटिंग से लाइक कमर्शियल उसकी उससे हट के एक एक्चुअल रियल डिफरेंस डालने वाली एक कैंपेन है. एंड आई थिंक उसका एंड रिजल्ट ये कि अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह वी आर शॉर्टलिस्टेड इन द फाइनल्स एज वेल.
Cool. So, आपने एक इसमें it's an animated commercial if I'm not
It's
wrong,
an
right?
yes, yes,
And you created a figure जिससे
yes,
बच्चे relate कर सकें. I think that's
exactly.
we'll pass on to Zaid now. Zaid, why don't you
Yeah,
take us to your campaign, then we'll connect with Ali for the question.
sure. Okay, so can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So basically, before I begin about the campaign, I'll just give you a little bit of background into Ismail Industries and as well as the confectionery category in general. So Ismail Industries was formed in 1988, and the founding, the flagship brand, the flagship division for the company is Candyland. So it's we celebrated 3 decades of 3 decades last year, and so Candyland is the market leader in the confectionery industry, which is valued at about 30 to 40 billion rupees annually, and the way we achieved our market leadership throughout the years has been on the back of product quality, high quality, as well as innovation. Basically, being the pioneers of introducing many categories in Pakistan in the confectionery ambit. These include marshmallows, these include uh, chocolate truffles. We've recently launched a chocolate spread. We've also gone into the health segment with uh, a new chocolate recently. It's called New Treat. It's a sugar-free chocolate. So innovation and quality have basically been the core. Have been the core has been the core on which our growth has or our success has been based. So, coming on to the confectionery category, it's largely an impulse category, and it comprises of many segments, which include jellies, which include marshmallows, candies, toffees, gums. So there's a lot of product categories, lots of players in this category, and so the competition is fierce. Jellies is basically the biggest kind is the biggest segment of the confectionery industry. It's about 36% of all confectionery, and Candyland is the market leader. So Chili Milli and ABC are the two flagship brands. You guys have probably heard of them and enjoyed them at various points in life. So when we entered, so the reason for launching Toss was that there's a few different formats in the product in the industry or in the jelly segment basically, where where we've placed our offerings, right? So there's a local segment where rupees 2, rupees 5, and rupees 10 jellies are sold. And then there's an imported segment, which is Haribo and Yappy and Trolley, which is basically 300 to 500 rupee segment. So TOS was basically launched in to have our own presence in the rupees 2 segment. And the camp so there's one competitor in this segment, and that's Giggly. They have Crisco and we have Toss. So Giggly offers a single flavor, what we wanted, what we based on our interaction with the consumers. So they like to experiment with flavors, and children in jellies often like to mix flavors before they consume them. So we decided to offer toss in two flavors, and that's why. And the the concept was that although it's a play on the name toss. When you flip a coin for a toss, you actually have to choose between a heads or a tails, right? So the concept for toss was not to be able to choose and to win either way, because whichever side it lands on, it's a win for you. So that is why was basically the concept behind the naming of the brand. We launched this brand in late 2018, early 2019, and the campaign was basically a mix of live action plus animated. It was shot in Turkey, and the concept is that you so the concept was we went with the teaser campaign of showing that there's a big war coming, but then when we enter the TVC, so what happens is we're showing two armies getting ready for war. There's an orange army and there's a yellow army, which just represents mango. So it's basically the hero. It represents the hero SKU, which is the hero variant, which is the orange mango flavor. So we're trying to developed this build up, this preamble that there's going to be a huge war and there's two armies sort of coming together and there's something going to happen. But as you progress through the story, so what happens is that these armies come together and they merge and become united and they become one. And that's basically the concept of the product, that why have one when you can have two. So the reason we went with this form of execution for the TVC was that, so from our research it turns out, from we've spoken to a lot of kids and we've had done a lot of research. We've interacted with kids in schools as well. So they're very imaginative and they like to be able to wonder how things come into being, and that is something that's gone into so the story sort of tells them how toss comes into being, and the imaginative play is shown in the form of that live action and animated sort of war scene. And the animation and the so basically the execution of the TVC, what we wanted was that if you assess the kind of cinema that's been happening, whether it's Marvel, whether it's DC, whether it's all these new TVCs, new movies or shows that have come up, so the quality of animation has gone really high. And these old school animations where you can basically sort of track that it's not, it looks fake. So that's something we didn't want to go with. We wanted to go with a route which sort of is at par with cinema which is being shown, and it's also how do I put it into words? Like, so basically we wanted to show a concept which sort of taps into kids' imagination. So that is why we went with that sort of TVC, and we executed it on TV. All the traditional mediums, TV, radio, digital. Sorry, not digital, TV, radio, and print. And then we also went to digital and executed on BTL in terms of a nationwide school sampling as well. We were able to generate about 1.6 million trials of the product on ground, and we were able to capture a segment share of 16% of the 2 rupee market. And TOS was able to, so basically the jelly segment is about 184 brands being reported by Nielsen. So it's a very competitive market. So getting even a small share is actually a big challenge. But TOS was able to gain about 2.5% of the overall market share. So which was a very big achievement when it comes to confectionery or jellies. So
Thank
that's a
you.
bit about the campaign.
I think that was a pretty detailed
Yeah.
overall view of your campaigns. I think I have a question for Ali. Ali, are you here with us?
Yep. Did I drop off again last time?
So I have a question stemming out from their campaigns only. You've been on the jury panel, and we come across forms where there's we can't. There are the entrants can't differentiate between the insight and the big idea. So for us, it's always there's a difference. There's a fine line between the two. I want you to speak a few words, or make a clarity to them, because these are the people who write their forms, they go make their campaigns, so they should be very clear about the two things.
Okay, yeah, no worries. I just want to start by saying that if I tend to drop off, I'm just in a place where I don't have premium connection. So if I do drop off, start waving your arms and I'll try to connect again. Firstly, congratulations on getting onto the finalist list. Really amazing campaigns. I think both campaigns that we've just talked about demonstrate a great deal of not only success with the way the campaign results came out, but also in terms of its construction, really good generation of insights and executions. These are two different things. Both campaigns show a degree of engagement, sense of newness. I loved hearing that a certain investment was made on animation, because I've always thought that there is no middle ground on animation. There's either really bad animation or good animation. So it's great to see that thought was given to that. To answer your question, on the difference between an insight and an idea, I'm going to take the example of a campaign that BBDO worked on in New York, and you must be familiar with it because it is in the snacks category, and this is for Snickers. So an insight is as a human truth. It is going to be something you discover that people haven't really talked about as such, that is new to hear about. So for instance, in Snickers, we all knew this human truth, but nobody had really talked about it, which was that if you are hungry, you tend to get cranky. You tend to get, it's harder to concentrate on things. It's harder to do things a certain way. You just become a different person. The manifestation of that, of what you do with that big thought or insight, that human truth, is what turns into a big idea. It's the creative manifestation of that thinking that becomes, it could be a tagline, it could be a campaign line, but once you generate it, the creative tumbles out of it automatically. So for instance, again, for Snickers, the line that was generated was, "You're not you when you're hungry." Now, the moment you say that, you realize that it becomes a big idea because it just generates, anybody can write a commercial out of it. It's so simple in its purity, but it is based on that insight of finding out something that we all are aware of, a human truth. Like you mentioned just now in the discussion that you discovered that kids wanted both the flavors in one pack. So the way you associated it was the idea of a toss, which would only give you one result, but in this case, it gave you two results, and both the results are great. So there's your insight, and you turned it into an idea, which then was, the creative just stumbled out of. So I think, to put it as simply as possible, when you're writing that up, I think when you define an insight, it is usually linked to some sort of research about human truths, what the market is doing, what people are looking for, and then generating the big idea out of that the creative can develop from.
Yeah, I think you summed it up wonderful way. I agree with that, and that is one issue we come across forms, and they don't have a differentiation factor between the insight and the big idea. And I thought you would be the right person to answer this question. I'll just take a minute to remind everyone that we are live on Effie Pakistan page, and you can comment and ask direct questions to the finalist and our guest juror. Guys, if Zaid and Talha, do you have any questions for Ali? Because Ali has been on the jury panel for years for our awards program, as on PASS Awards also, on Effie also. He's been there on the jury panel for international award programs as well. You guys are writing the forms. You must have questions for the jury. हमें तो फोन करके आप लोग बहुत क्वेश्चन सवाल पूछते हैं, ऐसा क्यों हुआ, ऐसा क्यों हुआ, हम क्यों नहीं शॉर्टलिस्ट हुए, जूरी ने ये क्यों नहीं देखा, वो क्यों नहीं देखा, वो सारे सवाल आप अली से करें आज आप.
Well, most of my questions were before I knew I was a finalist, so I think I'm sorted there. But I think one thing I'd like to know is the process, what goes on behind those doors when the jury sets. What's the difference between the first and the second and the third round? And if you could probably take us through that process, I think we'd like to know what happens.
So I think, just to put it very, sorry, if I were to put it really simply, I think it's a reduction of the work in terms of the first round is a sort of a shortlist round. And then you look at all the entries out there, and then you determine a shortlist from it. And from within that shortlist, you determine a finalist list, which is a further culling till you get to, literally, it's finding the cream on the top of all the work that has been entered. So it's just a step-by-step process to make sure that you don't just drop off work in the very first round. You look at it once, you look at it twice. It's a foolproof method to ensure that it is truly the best work that gets to the top, not just a one-off system.
And Ali, sorry to sorry, you can. I just wanted to ask if you were to if I was to ask what's the top three things you look for in a case, what would they be for it to be shortlisted or become a finalist?
I'm going to take the reference of the Effies, right? So
Okay.
in the Effies, you have to be a successful campaign. You have to have generated
Yeah.
some results in terms of effectiveness, that your campaign worked and worked really well. Now, remember, it is not enough to just have worked well, because lots of campaigns do well. You are competing against other campaigns that have also done well. So you must have done better than most. Secondly, it is the insight that has been generated. How creative is the strategy that somebody wrote? What was the problem solving initiative? What mechanics were used? And then thirdly, it is the work. I don't want to put them in order, as in like these one is more important than the other. Sometimes the execution will be amazingly different and brilliant, and then that'll make up for results that aren't as good as somebody else whose execution is bad. So it's all a balance of points, and I think there is a percentage system which is weighed. So somebody might have a 90 on execution and 70 on results, and they will beat another person who is 90 on results and 40 on execution, for instance. So it's all weighted. I think those are the three very, very key points. You've got to be effective. Your strategic insight and problem solving skills must be spot on, and then the execution is obviously very important. We're in the entertainment business where
Yeah.
we want to engage people, and if the craft isn't good, if the work doesn't look good, then it doesn't matter at the end of the day. So I think all those things are very, very important.
I agree with you, Ali. Talha, do you have any questions for Ali?
Yeah, so Ali, I was wondering, like, you're one a part of the jury. So, as a jury and as well as a consumer, don't you find it like sometimes difficult to judge a campaign because you're a consumer as well and then a jury as well? So, how do you balance those?
That's a great question. I mean, there are times when I'm a very devoted consumer of that brand, and I love their advertising as well. And then I come across their work in a jury. So, for instance, Apple, then it's it ticks the box all the way through. There'll be times when I'm not a consumer of a product, but I understand the case and I respect their work, and it will be incredible. I'll take the example of Volvo trucks, for instance, with their Van Damme campaign that they did. I'm never going to buy a Volvo truck, but I love that work. I know how effective it was. And then there are times when I will be a consumer and I will love the brand, but I will not like the work or the solution as much. And it just becomes, it just depends on the case itself at the end of the day.
So, you always have to keep your guards up as a jury.
Absolutely. I think you have to be very, very focused on the case itself.
Yeah.
You can't just award a case if you're in love with that brand, and that particular case isn't that great. You're not going to award it, and vice versa.
Of course.
Okay, so we have a couple of questions from live questions here. So, hi Zaid, आपको hi कह रहा है कोई? Okay, so we have a question from Faiza Khan. Corporations had brought their marketing and advertising budgets to almost zero. Do you feel this is the right approach? Who's going to take this question? Can we have an answer from one of the marketing people, and then we'll direct this question to Ali as well?
Right. Mind if I take it?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So I don't think there's anything wrong with bringing down your budgets, especially given the current circumstances. I think Tala also already pointed out that if during such serious times what you're focused on is just selling your own product, so that doesn't leave a good impression, and it's I think from a moral aspect it's also not good. Secondly, I think it also depends on objectives of the brand. If your objectives are being met, if you're not scheduled to spend, then you should not spend just because it might look bad if you don't. So I think there's two aspects to it. Uh, Secondly, I think giving when the when this pandemic spread and when business was shut down and halted. So when everything is at a standstill, then you're as a commercial organization, you also have commercial objectives, and you need to be able to bring best you need to get the best bang for your buck. So it has to be a very conscious decision of whether the money that you're spending is going to give you any return. And I think that's where corporations need to decide if they want to continue spending or stop spending.
Tala, do you want to answer this question as well?
I would just like to add that brands work really hard. They take a lot of time to build a certain message, give a certain perception in the mind of the consumer. So situations like these, just because you need to be there, you need to be present, you might have to tweak your message in a way that it can give a different
Yeah,
message than what your intent used to be. So I think
agreed.
just चीज़ के आपने इतना hard work किया हुआ है, it's not so easy to just let it go away.
And it's not easy for marketeers to pull their budgets. I think Tala would probably agree.
Of
It,
course,
yeah, it's not
as I
easy.
mentioned, you need the best buck for your
Yeah,
the best bang for your buck. So
yeah,
that's very
I,
important.
I know. I think you have to monitor your situation as well. If you fit in that, and then there's another way to look at it. हो सकता है उस brand के लिए direct approach सही ना हो. So maybe you'll have to use the
Exactly,
other way
medium, yes.
to go
yeah.
about it. Okay, so we have a couple of questions, guys. There's a question from Komal Zehra. Zaid, I have a question. Why do you only trust? I'm not going to name your agency, by the way, Zaid. Why do you always trust your agency to? Why not any other creative agency?
I think, I mean, all right. So when you work with an agency, they're your business partners, right? And over time, you build a relationship, like with any agency, or even in your personal life, you meet people, you have friends, you have best friends, and certain people understand your business better than anybody else. And then, so it's not you trust somebody because it's mandatory to trust them. You trust them because they've earned your trust, and you work with them, and they're the best for your brand. So I think that's why we trust our agency, and uh, yeah, that's I
Yeah.
hope that answers.
Yeah, so according to you, you've got that kind of rapport, that kind of the
Yeah, it's
relationship developed over time.
they've earned their trust on merit, and I think that's what should matter.
Okay, so we have another question for Ali, and Ali is not here with us. I think he was having some problems. So we have a question from Ahmed Mushtaba. I have a question for Ali. What does it take for a campaign to be talked about on regional scene? What brands should be doing to get noticed? We always talk about different brands like Snickers, McDonald's, Burger King, and etc. from different markets like Singapore, Malaysia, or APAC region. Unfortunately, Ali is not live anymore. And we have got another question from Koma Zehra, guys. You're talking about good animations. How about you giving chance to another animation houses that can actually provide you with much more better quality? I think Zed, that's for you, or probably you both can answer because you've used animations. But this is yeah. So Talha, why don't you answer
Tala, you
this?
want to go first?
Yeah, sure. Why not? As Zed mentioned before, certain agencies, certain animators, they earn their status. They earn their status with their work, and I think for us, we did this campaign. इसमें हमने दो animations की हैं, and we've switched our animations. And if you see, हमारी second जो episode है इस series की, it's completely different animation. It's completely different ballpark, and we changed our animators because they gave us a better option. They gave us a better result. So it's never fixed. I would say it's
Yeah.
okay for us to switch.
I
Okay.
think I have a similar answer. So basically, we've done a lot of campaigns over the past 2 years. I think about 9 or 10, and they've been given to different production houses. They've been given to different animation houses. Those animation houses have been Pakistani animation houses. They've been foreign animation houses, and I think we've always had very good results. It's all about laying down the expectations and then ensuring that the work that you get is the output that you get is as per your expectations. So we've never been fixed, and whoever has been doing good work, we've done business with them.
So I think, guys, you can ask Koma Zehra to please. She can send her portfolio, and you guys can look into it. Probably
Of
as a
course.
new. I don't know. I am probably. How to approach you both since I have been trying to do so. So I think Komal, the best way would be to send your portfolio. You can either send it to us and we'll send it across to both the brand managers. And we have another question from Ahmed Mustafa. I have a question for Ali. Acha, okay, so we've done this. Idris Hussain, I'm so sorry. This question is from Idris Hussain. Zaid, as you mentioned that the jelly category is very competitive.
Yeah.
You as a company deal with many jelly brands. How do you manage to differentiate between these? And how are these ideas derived for a new product for a category? You want me to go for the
All right.
question? I
No,
think
if you can put it on screen. So
so.
okay, so I think that it's a two or maybe a three-part question. Firstly, talking about the jelly category. So the jelly category is divided into two further segments. It's the sweet jelly and the spicy jelly. So we've done our research. Sweet jellies is mostly consumed by kids, 4 years to maybe 12 years of age. Spicy jellies is basically, so chili milli would be one of them, amrut jelly would be one of them. So spicy jellies are consumed by kids as well as adults, especially the female audience. And so that's basically how we sort of categorize them. When you talk about I'm going to deal with many jelly brands. I'm going to differentiate between these. So when you talk about differentiating between these, so we have our key bets. We have our flagship brands. So that's Chilimili, that's ABC, that's basically Toss. And we sort of also know that the consumption pattern for kids is that they are very experimental and they also like to keep trying new things. So we ensure that we have enough variety in our portfolio for people for kids to be able to experiment and even if they switch within the Candyland portfolio. When it comes to developing a new product or a new product category, so that is actually so there's no one way to innovate. It can be a production driven innovation, it could be a marketing driven innovation, it could be sitting talking to your vendors. Maybe sometimes you can even talk to people and you can get ideas from there. So that's where the innovation stems from. But then you obviously have to test your product concepts with the market. You do your research, and some product concepts will rank higher in research compared to other options. So those you can identify and shortlist as to where you should direct your R&D investment. I
So
hope.
yeah, I think your both the snack category is a very impulse buying
Yeah, yeah,
category, and you keep on innovating products because इसकी life इतनी short होती है ना. You
yeah,
have to
yeah,
keep on, especially the candies. It's got a very short life. You need to keep
yeah.
on innovating.
You need to keep
अच्छा,
on innovating. You need to keep on throwing new flavors, and then some hit on will take off on a national scale. Some will develop regional pockets, and some will fail, and it's okay.
So, मुझे बताएं, do you have questions for each other? You've gone through the campaigns. You know, Talha को पता है Zaid की campaign, and Zaid, you might be knowing about Talha's campaign. Don't you have any questions for your competition?
Okay, so I don't have any such any specific question for. I just like to. So basically, what I did want to formally tell him that I really like the platform that these guys picked up, because I think that's something when you're marketing to children, it's really important that you do pick up a platform which can maybe educate them and enlighten them about the positive behavior. So I think I just like to formally
So
tell Talha.
Vivek, I have so
Sorry.
Talha, I have a question for you then. मुझे एक बात बताएं, आप कह रहे हैं बहुत अच्छा प्लेटफॉर्म है। आज से कई साल पहले प्रिंस बिस्किट्स हैज बीन यूजिंग दिस प्लेटफॉर्म, ऑल एनिमेटेड सीरीज, बुकलेट्स बनती थी उनकी इसी तरह से जैसे इन्होंने स्टोरी बनाई, देयर इज अ प्रिंस की स्टोरी। एंड सो हाउ डू यू डिफरेंशिएट फ्रॉम द ब्रांड, यू नो, आप आपकी नीश क्या आती है फिर, यू नो, यू आर ट्रैवलिंग इन द सेम रोड, उनकी एक
So,
कैरिकेचर प्रिंस, आपने एक हिप्पो कैरेक्टर क्रिएट कर दिया।
right, right. So one thing that sets us apart is जो हमने cause डाला है बीच में, and as I mentioned before, हमारी research insight से was very clear कि children are trying to, they're very curious, they're trying to figure out कि हमारी society में environment में problems क्या हैं, and they want to figure out ways to solve them. They don't have a platform to do so. Yes, we've used animation, but जो हमारा cause is not just entertainment. There is a real cause behind it. And this is one cause जिसके ऊपर not just पूरा Pakistan, but I think globally everyone is working on. So that is something that sets us apart.
Okay, so I have a few questions for you guys, and then we'll just wind up the session. So it's kind of a rapid fire for both of you.
Right.
मुझे बताएं, okay, so which brands do you consider as a threat or competition? Tala, you go first.
Biscuit industry is
You have to be
vast
honest.
because
You have to be honest. You have to be honest. You have to name the brands.
yes, exactly. So it's so vast. There's so many competitors, so many brands. So it's not easy to just pinpoint specific because categories and different biscuits की categories हैं. So I think
talking about,
I think I would appreciate Super here. Super is doing a very exceptional job here.
but Super is not your competition, right? Jumbo
Again, as I
Junior
mentioned कि Jumbo Junior exactly there is biscuit industry में अगर मैं overall बात करूँ आपसे. But if you talk specifically about Jumbo Junior, but I think we're doing very well. We do things very differently, so we don't see other brands as threat because as I mentioned before कि हमारा insight ही ये थी कि हमने we have to differentiate ourselves from others. So I wouldn't say.
आपने आंसर दिया है, बहुत आपने इसका। Zed, your turn.
So there's only one competition for toss, that's Crisco. So I think we have to take them head on and probably win. And we need to win. So Crisco, we're coming for you.
So which is
So Twisto.
oh, Twisto, right?
Yeah.
ठीक है. Okay, my next question. Okay. Top 5 brands in snack and dessert category for you. Okay, Zed, you can go.
Is that me or is that Tala?
Okay, you go
I go
first.
first. All right. So top 5 brands in snacks and desserts. I think first would be Kokomo. Second would be Chili Milli. Then I'd say Oreo. I said Oreo. I said Oreo. I said Oreo. I'd say Nor. And let's see, desserts. One more, dairy milk.
Okay. Pala, your turn. Top
I'd say
5.
Lay's. So first Lay's, then I would say probably Dairy Milk, yes. Oreo, I would say Oi, but it's no more there. So I'm a big fan of chips. So
Yeah.
chips is all the way for me. And then finally, I would say I think Butter Crunch.
Okay. So my next question is, okay, आप लोग शूट पे जाते हैं, ठीक है, एंड हर शूट का अंशोर कोई ना कोई ऐसे मोमेंट्स जरूर होते हैं, ब्लूपर्स होते हैं, एंशियस मोमेंट्स होते हैं. सो व्हाट आर योर एंशियस मोमेंट फ्रॉम अ रीसेंट शूट यू गाइस हैव कंडक्टेड?
I take this one first. Yes. So recently we've been at a shoot in Poland, and Poland, there is this place called Gdansk, which is like a village, but obviously, वो village is not like the village in Pakistan. And I think it was -13 at the time, और super chilly हवा चल रही थी, and हमारा जो shoot था वो two days long was in a castle, and for hours and hours and hours we just had the tiny tent जिसके अंदर एक छोटा सा blower fan था which was sort of throwing away warm air. उसके अलावा we could not figure out हमारी नाक है, हमारे जुबान है, हमारे lips हैं. It was so cold.
नाम हो गया था आपको. Zed,
We
आप
were
बताओ.
completely done.
Okay, so two types of anxieties हम कह सकते हैं. एक तो when you're doing product shots, you really are really anxious कि यार ये सही निकल के आ जाए, because they're like very technical, they're very time consuming, and they need to be absolutely perfect. You cannot redo them. Uh, Things like animation, ये बाकी चीजें हैं, you can work your way around them, you can digitally edit them, but product shots are very frightening. कि वो सही हो जाए. And secondly, I think I'll just tell you about TOS. So we shot it in the outskirts of Istanbul, and it was supposed to be a sunny day, and it's an outdoor shoot with 150 children. So, and then it starts to rain. So that's something that will it stop? Will it not stop? That was peak anxiety moment that we might have to delay the shoot, and it did not rain in the morning. It was sunny. Everything was going perfectly, and then smack in the middle of the main scene, when the kids are rushing towards each other, the rain starts, and the shoot goes on hold, and you're losing daylight, and that was probably anxious moments.
Okay. So my last question. What is the message for people out there? Why should they participate in awards program? Now that you both are finalists, you should make a good speech or pitch for us.
Tala, you want to go first?
You go first.
Yeah. All right. So basically, when you talk about awards, I think Effie's is probably the most credible marketing award you can have in the world. So when you sort of apply or when you participate in awards, first thing you need to be very sure of is that the awards are very credible. So there's no point having participating in awards which do not have such credibility, or which are just there for the sake of it. So I think, having said that, I've only ever participated in the FEs, and I think I'll continue to do so.
So,
I just like
Tala,
to add, you need to be honest with yourself first. You
Yeah.
have to be honest with your work. You have to be honest with the campaign and your consumer. So I think that आप इन सारी चीज़ों को tick कर देती हैं. It's very easy for you to get into an
Yeah.
award, I think. So your primary focus should be the consumer, your work.
cool. Acha, both of you guys have got 60 seconds each. Tell us, why do you think that you should be a winner in this category? My question to you both. Why do you think you should be a winner in this category? You've got 60 seconds to prove or rest your case. Who wants to go first?
I can pick it up.
Okay.
So
Go ahead.
Innovative Biscuits and Jumbo Junior brand has always worked
And your
for
time
Pakistan.
starts. A sec, Tala. Wait. Someone has taken my cell phone. We are going to start your time. Okay,
I can
start.
take the time.
Yeah. No, okay.
Okay.
You start now.
Okay, so Innovative Biscuits and Jumbo Junior brand specifically, we're always very focused about our consumer, about our environment, about Pakistan itself. And this campaign was not done to get an award. This was done to make a real difference. This was done to make people mindful about their actions, about their environment, about their surroundings. So I think हमारी जो campaign is very focused on giving to the society instead of taking from them. So very simple, one-liner. This is for Pakistan. That is why I think we deserve to win in this category.
Okay, cool. Within 60 seconds, Zed, your time starts now.
Okay, so why I think TOS should be a winner in this category is because when you are participating in an award like Effie, so the first thing you need to prove is efficiencies, as Ali also mentioned. And I think the TOS launch is symbolic of efficiencies. in terms of the fact that it's a complete marketing launch. It has a solid product backed by a solid communication, solid distribution strategy, and solid results. So I think when you combine all of these, you get a winning formula, and I think that is why it was short.
Okay, with that, we have one last question from Wahid Kadir. Being a responsible advertiser, do you also research, monitor whether your products or communication is having any negative impact on kids? That's a very good question, by the way.
See, we do realize that we are marketing to children or young adults. So we do look into spreading positive messages. We do look into ensure that whatever message that our communication is giving out uh, is not stepping on any religious, ethical, uh, moral is not so violating any of those boundaries. So yeah, we do ensure that the advertising or the communication that we send out, that we put out into the world is fit for that audience.
Okay, Tala, do you want to answer this question, or you think that Zaid has covered?
I think Zad has covered pretty much everything. I would just like to add, like, अगर मैं आपको जम्मू जूनियर कैंपेन के स्पेसिफिक बारे में बताऊं, तो हम लोगों को we had to be extra cautious कि हम litter ना करें, because we're giving out message, और उसी तरह हम उसके against act ना करें, because children आपको बहुत एक subconscious level के ऊपर observe कर रहते हैं. So we had to be very careful, और हम हमेशा अपनी हर कैंपेन में इतनी ही careful होते हैं, चाहे वो animation हो, चाहे वो आपकी tone हो. We have to be very careful, and yes, I think I agree with Zaid.
Okay, so there's a very interesting comment. Whether there's a tie, toss always decides the winner.
Right.
So it's just making it more clear. उन्होंने बोला है कि whether there's a tie, toss always decides the winner. So in any case, toss will decide a winner. Thank you so much, guys. It was wonderful having you both here. I hope you guys also enjoyed the show, and it was meaningful to you as well. But I think your pitch for the last 60 seconds doesn't mean that we're just going to reveal who's a winner today. For that, you will still have to tune to our social media pages, and I just want to remind you all that we have got interviews lined up for next session as well. So for that, you'll have to log on to our website and to our social media pages. I think we don't have any more questions, and we can. Do you have anything else to say?
I'd just like to add on that in true Todd's philosophy, I hope Tala and I are both winners. So yeah.
Say that's the best wishes from us as well. With that, we end our very first session of Lockdown Live with our finalists, Talha and Zaid from Candyland and Innovative Biscuits. Thank you all. Wish you both a very happy award winning. Stay safe.
Thank you for having us.
It was a pleasure having you all here. Thank you, Ali. I think somehow got lost due to the connection. But see you guys around.
See you, Effie. Thank you for having us.
Take care, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Take care.